Hi, I'm Craig and I develop trust-based observations. And I think the combination of my frustrations as a teacher with the evaluation, supervision, observation process not really being about growth, combined with my career experiences, really is what led me to develop trust-based observations. So what is trust-based observations? First, I think I should talk about the traditional teacher evaluation observation model. In the traditional teacher evaluation observation model, there's usually a rubric, and usually it's a lengthy rubric, sometimes up to 75 different areas that a principal is supposed to measure. That rubric is usually measured on a scale of 1 to 4, and so what happens is the principal calls the teacher in for a meeting. The teacher will explain what's going to happen during the course of the lesson, and then the next day or a couple days after, the principal goes in and they watch the entire lesson, and then they grade the teacher on each one of those rubric categories. Then a couple of days after that, what happens is the principal goes in, meets with the teacher, and then they go over the rubric, go over their scores on each thing, and they offer suggestions for improvement. What I found is that research says as soon as we start evaluatively scoring teachers, they stop taking risks. And so trust-based observations is about taking that part of the scoring out and about building trusting relationships with teachers. To do that, I've created a different model. This is the way the model works. So it's important to go into classes enough so that teachers feel comfortable with you being in their class and that they feel safe. So I go in and I do short 20-minute unannounced observations. I do 12 a week. I do 3 each on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then I have 3 reflective follow-up conversations on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So when I'm in the class, especially at first, I only focus on the teacher's strengths. I also have another thing that I want to point out is my rubric is manageable. It's only 10 items long, and what research has said is that anything more than a handful, and actually says 10 max, principals get lost and they miss the meat of the lesson because they're so focused on checking all the boxes. This way we don't have to check, and it's a manageable number of areas to look for. So when I'm in there, I only write compliments, or I only write evidence of is actually what we title it. So I only write evidence of strengths that I see during the visit. And then when I do the reflective follow-up conversation with the teacher, I begin it by always asking the teachers a number of questions underpinned by 2 very important ones. 1, what were you doing to help students learn? And 2, if you had it to do over again, what, if anything, might you do differently? And then after I get the answers to those questions, and we talk about that, then I share the strengths with the teachers. And then what I find ends up happening is usually after the 3rd lesson, sometimes even earlier, but I wait until at least the 3rd lesson, is that teachers will say, okay, but what can I get better at? And then at that point, I know the teachers are starting to trust me. So then we can begin to work on an area of growth. What I always tell teachers is, I want you to be risk takers. If I go into your class and you're trying something new and it totally bombs, which rarely happens, but I tell them that if it totally bombs, the next day I'm going to go into your class during that follow-up conversation and I'm going to give you a fist bump saying, that was great because you're taking risks, you're trying new things, you're working on the path towards being an innovative teacher. I also tell them that the best part is you're role modeling for kids risk-taking. You're role modeling that failure is okay. We just move on from it. Perseverance is what we're really talking about. And that really is what separates trust-based observations from a traditional evaluation and observation model.